players and the team. Keep a great company in the stream.
It's a Murali End. Welcome to the show. We're here when you're high. We're here when you're low. Some days you're happy, some days you wanna rant happy. It's we when mad, it's them. It's the same place, Murali End. Sri Lanka cricket, we gon' represent. So tell a friend.
Welcome to the Murali End. My name's Mark Machado. Thanks for joining me. You are joining us only moments after the rain gods decided that they needed to put a halt on that beating that Sri Lanka were getting at the hands of England. Sri Lanka all out for 133. England won on DLS method. They won by 11 runs. Don't ask me to explain that. It's a big old Murali End. I think today is one of those days where if you're a Sri Lanka fan, you might need a bit of therapy. My name's Mark Machado. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave us your comments. I'm joined today by the Professor of Cricketology in the States, Dominic Machado, and the voice of Sri Lanka cricket, Udith Irash. Udith, thank you for joining us. Let's start with you. How are you feeling after that so-called performance?
I'm feeling like a joke, just like where cricket is going through. That's all I'm feeling. I'm feeling very sarcastic today. You might hear a lot of sarcastic comments coming from me today, because it's a pathetic joke, to be honest. And
that's okay, man. You're among friends. You can make any amount of sarcasm you want. Like.
And I'm sure there will be a lot of fans feeling the same way you are. So I think that's yeah, it's warranted.
I don't know. It's a joke, and it's very clear, right? Whatever is happening, we had this conversation. I think the last time I came on live with you all, also we had the same conversation, right? Whatever is happening in the external part of cricket in Sri Lanka is affecting the dressing room, and as soon as the dressing room becomes messy, this is what you're going to get in terms of performances on the field. And there's no quantitative factors included in selections also. They're just doing instinctive and intuitive selections. And this is what you're going to get. Simple.
Got a comment coming in. Players are not being picked because of merit. That is a fact. Dom, how are you feeling about it? I mean, I said at the end of the last time we were on, I was like, for me, this game today is the beginning of the World Cup for Sri Lanka, right? Whatever happens in this, it's 3 games, and then I think there might be some sort of warm up. I don't, that warm up is kind of irrelevant. They were straight into it. The 8th into the World Cup. We know Ireland's a critical game. We know Ireland are going to kind of be, in some ways, quite similar to the way England approach it. I mean, if this is the World Cup, let's be brutal. That's about as bad a start as it gets, right?
Just wasn't good enough. And I think the sad thing is it isn't our players that have let us down. It is the selection and coaching that has let us down. We come into this game already at a disadvantage. There are so many different things that we can point to, right? We have DDS, who strikes at 110 in T20s, batting in a 17-over game, coming in when they're going at about 9-10 and over, and it's just an absolute disaster. Even the bowling lineup, you look at it. Thank God Perahera showed that he could bowl up front, which was amazing, and I think one of the positives I'm going to take away from this game. But looking at the side, you think, who is going to bowl those first 5 overs up front? You have Mahesh Deekshana, the one guy who kind of has consistently bowled in the power play, and everything else is just kind of a hodgepodge situation. So you look at how this squad is constructed, how the 11 is constructed, and they are set up in a bad position. If they win, it is despite, not because of the coaching staff and the selection. It is frustrating because we saw the rich talent that is on the island. Perahera was so good today. Kusal Mendes looked like $1 million. Kamil Mishara, even in his short stay, looked good. And we just aren't able to take advantage of it because the coaching staff and the selection gets in the way.
Udith, have you got? I know you're somebody who's in touch with people in the squad. Have you got any indication, any ideas of what the kind of atmosphere is like in it? Presumably, you know, we're days away from a home World Cup starting. This should be a career high for everyone involved in the squad right now, from the players to the coaches. They should be absolutely buzzing. I'm buzzing just thinking about it. What's it like in the squad at the moment?
With what I'm hearing, look, in the first place, you don't need to, have ears and eyes in the dressing room to understand what's going on, right? You have your two captains, the ODI captain and the T20 captain, coming on to press conference and saying, look, we didn't have any control on, who is being picked, right? You have to ask that from the selectors. So as soon as that line comes out from a captain, right, everybody knows what's going on, right? It's so obvious. The selectors want something, the coaches want something else, and the players want something else. So, and see, what you need to understand is no matter what the selectors do, what the coaches do, what has to be done on the field when you get inside the boundary has to be done by the captain, right? So if you're not going to listen or take the ideas or get an input from your captain onto who he wants in the 11 or the 15, from there on, he's not going to be responsible for anything. Right? Say, okay, I'm just giving you an example. I don't want Matisha Patran in my side, right? I want someone else. But you're giving me Matisha Patran. He bowls 10 wides in Nova. Who's going to take responsibility? Right? So this is what has happened. And now what the captains can't do is come into a press conference and say, no, I said no. I don't think DDS is suitable. He can't say that, right? He loses his job. He'll probably never play for cricket Sri Lanka again. Right? This is the brutal truth. And as soon as this starts happening, when your leader, the guy who everybody else is supposed to be around and taking the team forward, once the captain goes this way, the whole thing just crumbles out, right? And this dressing room, these players have been, for the last 2 years, they've been together. They've known what they had to do. They've known each other, right? And then 2 months, one and a half months before the World Cup, you come and you change the entire setup. Right? You get DDS, who has never played T20 for a long time, right? And he's not done well in the domestics as well, right? Okay, at least that. Okay, fine. If you've done well in domestic, then there's not even that. And you go and parachute him into the side, and everybody's confused as to what is happening. What is my role? What do I do? Right? And if you have a side like this, and if you have a dressing room culture like this, you're not going to go forward in any tournament, let alone that be a World Cup. World Cup is a different ballgame completely. So,
guys, we'll open up the back end in a bit, and you guys can come on and have a chat with Udith and tell us what you're thinking. I think we've got a lot to talk about. Normally we do about 10 minutes ourselves, then we give you guys a go. When I do open it up, I'll go and get a light and fix my lighting because I'm coming in and out. There's a comment coming in. Sanjula has said there is no way Vishen, Movin, Nwindu, Cruz, Sandan, the Laurus and Wiki are worse than DDS and Janeth. What I'm really conscious about, right, is I don't want us to come on this show and just slag off the players, like the ones who aren't performing. I don't know what the situation is politically between DDS, the selectors, and between Kamindu and the selectors and all that, right? And from my opinion, I come to this pure-hearted because I'm a million miles away right now from Sri Lanka. And I think whatever, it doesn't matter if you pick Patam Nisanka, if you pick DDS, or if you pick one of the three of us, I know if you're Sri Lankan and if you support the Sri Lankan cricket team, you're going out there to do your best. So I don't want this to ever be about coming on and slagging off DDS or slagging off Janeth Lianage, because I think those guys, they do their best, right? I'm sure it's Sri Lanka, right? So there's a whole massive story about how these guys are in the side, and I'm sure in time we'll get the truth out of that and why these people are in there. I just think, though, it is absolutely incredible when you look at Kamindu Mendis and you look at, I go and talk to people who follow cricket, different parts of the world, follow different formats of cricket, and the Sri Lankan player, one of the 3 or 4 Sri Lankan players that everyone is high on outside of Sri Lanka is Kamindu Mendis, man. Like, the IPL has retained him, he's proved it, he left hand, right hand, bat, ball, whatever, that man can figure out a problem, right? I was excited after that third ODI because even though we lost, I thought we were starting to see something come through. This is what I felt. That was a bit different. I was like, do you know what? They've approached us in a totally different way than the way they've gone about it. I don't know whose idea it was. It was the coaches, it was the captains, it was, the selectors, the analytics team, or whatever it was. But I was like, they've gone about this, and they've, at least with the batting, it looked like they were batting to their strengths. They had an idea of how they were going to do it. They looked to me like they kind of like had some sort of idea of role definition. And I thought maybe somebody was trying to take charge. And I was like, oh, thank God. We're on the eve of the World Cup. We've been talking about this for ages. And now suddenly it's happened, right? It's in Sri Lanka, right? You turn up for something, you're like, oh man, we're meant to be having our wedding here tomorrow, but there's nothing set in place. You wake up the next day morning and there's a million people out there and everything is sorted. And I thought we were seeing that once again with Sri Lankan cricket. I thought it was about to all fall into place, but now I'm thinking maybe that was a one-off. Like
this is the thing, Mark. When I saw them batting the first 7 or 8 overs, they looked like they had a plan. Kusal, Kamil, and Patham. They were going to go after the bowling and try to score runs quickly. Because guess what? They know that if they do not score big runs and do not score them quickly, they are not going to win. That's basically been the formula. If those guys don't score runs, they're not going to win. And sadly, instead of saying, okay, these players have been playing very well, they're aggressive players, let's back them by putting in players who can continue the pressure, they have done the exact opposite and put players in who don't continue the same way of playing. Like, and Mark, I wanted to echo that what you said about DDS and Lianage. It's not their fault they're being selected and being put in a place where they aren't supposed to be. There's got to be, it's the coaches and it's the selectors who have to understand this is what a number 4 is, this is what a 5 is, this is what a 6 is in T20 cricket. And they are showing that they have absolutely no understanding of what that is. And that's what's so frustrating, because you have in those top 3 the backbone of a very strong T20 batting side. And we're building around the question of what happens when they fail? How do we get 6 and over from there on out, rather than how do we get 10 on over once they do well? And that's just not going to win.
Udith, what do you think happens now? How are we going to go about the second T20?
See, nothing's going to change, because this is the 15, I think, except Pramod Madhushan, this will be our squad for the World Cup. I mean, you won't turn around and send Kamindu Mendes back, when he's on the way to the hotel, when you're actually thinking of having him in the squad for the World Cup, right? So he's not in. Pramod Madhushan is in replacement to Dusman Shamira. Shamira, they've rested, so that's why they've got Pramod Madhushan as a standby, as a backup. So they're not going to change this. And that's where the problem is. I mean, just as you were saying, you got Pathum, Kamil, and Kusal Mendes. They're settled. They know what to do. They're okay. Kamil has a bit of an issue with his leg side play, something that he'll work out with time. That's okay. So these 3 know what they're doing, right? And then you get Charith Asalanka, the person who was removed from captaincy because he was failing as a batsman, not because he was bad as a captain. The reason that was given was he's failing. So we have number 4, we have a failed batsman. He was technically, it was supposed to be DDS. They don't send DDS in number 4 when DDS was supposed to be the replacement for number 4, right? And then they have DDS, who is not a T20 player, who has a strike rate of 116, if I'm not mistaken, in T20 cricket. He's not been in touch. We saw what happened in the one-day series. So then you got DDS, and then you get Janit Lianage, again, someone who is not supposed to be in a T20 squad, right? He's supposed to be in an ODI squad, which he does well, all right? And then you have Dasun Shanaka, who again parachuted into the side. He had a good time in the major leagues, and he did a bit in the domestic, and he got in, right? And he's captain. So you have 4 people who are under pressure. Dasun Shanaka, I mean, when you look at his press conference, it's clear, right? He's not confident. Yeah. He doesn't know what's going on. So he's also anxious when he gets into the middle. So he's there. Janit Lianage is not supposed to be there. DDS is no way supposed to be there. And Charith Asalanka. These 4 batsmen, as soon as those 3 are done on the top, then you have 4 people who are not sure of what they're supposed to do and who are not in form. 4 of them. right? And the best way forward for me right now is if you're playing Janit Lienege, he's a bowler, he's a fast bowler, medium pacer, and he's a batsman. Get Milan Ratnayake in, right? I mean, that's the kind of player we should have had in this squad, right? Get someone like Milan Ratnayake in. Number 4, get Dunit Vellale to go up. It's time he took responsibility of this team, because that is what the next change should be once we are done with this World Cup.
Yeah.
Dasun Chanaka is not captaining this side properly. Charita Sri Lanka can't. I mean, with everything that has gone on. And Dunit Vellale needs to come there. He's got the attitude. He's got the passion. He's got a good approach. Give him that number 4 position. Give him that responsibility. And then you get that left arm spinner option also. Right? You can drop Mahesh Deekshan if you want to. You've got that option there. And he's a fighter. He's good in the field. Right? And Kamidu Mendes should be in this squad. Then you have that ambidextrous, and you have a good fielder, and you've got a gun batter. He's not in form, yes, but he can click any moment, and that's where we're lacking. These 4 players can't be. These 3 at least can't be in this side.
Yeah,
I was just going to say we've opened up the back end. So if you want to come in and have a chat with us, please do. I'll shift Isran before we. Dom, do you want to make the point you were about to make?
Say, Will Alagay at 4 is something I've been saying it a while, right? So if you're having DDS come in to be 4 and to provide bowling, I just don't understand how Will Alagay is not the choice above him. He's a better bowler.
He didn't bowl either.
Yeah, he didn't. Right, exactly. He didn't bowl, and that's the other part of it. He did not bowl either. On top of that, it was Dasun Chanaka who took that. And Udith, I'm curious. So I've seen a couple of things happen. So the Pawan Ratnayake moving up to 4, and DDS not bowling, but Dawson bowling himself. Do you see that as the captain sort of starting to push back against some of the orders from the top, or do you think that it's just luck?
Probably, right? Conditions, to me, I just felt it was a bit better for a medium pacer who can bowl cutters. And that's why when that happens, DDS just goes out of this picture, because DDS needs help from the wicket to turn the ball, right? If it doesn't spin, he's no use, right? He gets a lot of wickets in domestic cricket because those wickets are ranked turners, right? So he's good if it's Ketara, right? If it's wickets that are turning. And I don't know if it's him pushing back against what has been shoved down his throat. I might be tactical also, but I mean, if again we go back to the same story, selectors are saying something, coach is doing something, captain wants to do something else. So if the plan was DDS is in the team because he can bowl as well, then he should be bowling. And if he's not bowling, that means you've got your plans wrong. You've got your plans messed up.
Exactly.
There's no point at all to any of this. I mean, DDS should have batted number 4. And during the match, if you noticed, when Adil Rashid and Dawson, was it? The left arm spinner were bowling, they were reluctant in sending a right-hander in. This is modern cricket, right? 1990s, yes, okay, you have a leg spinner bowling, get a left-hander in, look at him, try to see if he can slog sweep it, right? This is 2026. So if a side has one orthodox left-arm spinner and a leg spinner, you don't send right-handers to bat? Is that what you're trying to say?
And let's just also say you're trying to get DDS, right? Your test captain, someone who you trust to play spin, and you're afraid that he can't play a leg spinner and a left arm. He can't play Liam Dawson. Or, in this case, I say send out Wanindu Hasaranga. If it comes off and he slugs a few sixes, that'll change the complexion of the innings. But now they're just like, there's no logic at all.
Yeah. I just feel like this is a zombie Lanka, right? Where it's like Sanath knows he's out the door. He's halfway out. He's now just like, we're just getting a team of kind of players he thinks aren't going to shame us. But in that, we are being shamed. I'd much rather go down in a blaze of glory than I would like the kind of limp stuff that we're doing now, where they're either sticking about and going out 110. That's 110 on a good day, right? We've got a middle order who are basically going out like 90 at this point, right?
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, GDS
like-
was lucky to get 11 from 12. He should have been out like 3 or 4 times in those 12
Yeah.
balls. Like,
Anyway,
those four
enough from
deliveries
us
he
that-
faced of Adil Rashid.
Mm.
First one was a massive turner. It turned 90 degrees. He played a slog sweep. It hit the toe end of his bat. Now that does not happen to a player who can play spin.
Yeah.
Next ball was a googly. He did not read it. Ball after that, I mean, that he didn't read it either. And then he just was like, I'm done with this. I'm going. I'm done. And he plays a slog sweep. He gets out. So, I mean, anyone looking at that with a hint of brains in their head would not pick him again.
yeah.
Right? Simple as that.
Let's bring some people on to have a chat. Dennis, I'll bring you on. Kuliner and Kai, I can see you in the background. If you want to come on and have a chat with us, I've just sent the link again into the chat. So click on the link, come backstage and have a chat. Tell us how you're feeling about Sri Lanka right now. Give us something to be optimistic about, and tell us what changes you might make for the next game. Dennis, how's it going, bro? How's North America? You snowed in as well, like Dom? Or I don't know if you're snowed in, Dom.
No, now it's a bit better. Now it's okay. But like, yeah, it's not as good when I'm watching the match, honestly. Like, it's so demoralizing. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, how are you feeling after the game?
I'm very disappointed, honestly. I mean, there's so many things to comment on. I can't justify the selection for half the team. Again, I honestly didn't. I mean, DDS, I've expressed my opinions on him pretty before. By the way, big fan. I watch all the content. And I also commented, I think, anyways, so DDS, I couldn't watch a lot of it, but I can read a score sheet. DDS is kind of out of form. Obviously, he should be dropped. I don't know why he was even added. Janit Lienige and Charit Asalanka should both not be in the same 11. One of them needs to be there. I think Janit Lienige needs to be there. He's proven himself more reliable recently. Mahesh Dikshan is out of form. He cannot be in this 11 as far as I'm concerned. At least not over Dunit Lalage. And I don't know. Like there was a statistic on the game today that over the past 2 years, our top 3 have gotten 1950s, and our middle order has gotten 450s. Okay, like it's a joke, right? Like we have become so consistent at collapsing. Okay, 77 for one Indala, we just go up to like 130 all out today.
Yeah.
Or various. It's ridiculous, right? I mean, I don't know. It's very, very demoralizing. I don't understand the new management side. Yeah.
And Dineth, the other stat that I thought was interesting about that middle order, top order, they showed, okay, strike rates for top order is 140, middle order is 125. So they don't score runs and they score them more slowly, right? Like I saw someone was joking on Twitter. They said, we might as well play our top 3 batters and then 8 bowlers after that because we're getting absolutely nothing from those guys.
I mean, if it was 1 or 2 players, it's okay. You can survive, right?
Yeah.
These four players there who are really messing things up. See, T20 cricket is all about being aware. You need to just go there. You need to hit the ground running. And nowadays, when you look at coaching units, they actually drill that into your head. I mean, when we used to play this little cricket that we used to play, was you go there, you settle down, you take a few balls, leave a few, play a defensive stroke, just stay there, get your eye in it. And now, if you look at the higher levels of coaching, for age group cricket, what they push is they push that mindset where you go there, you take a single the first ball, right? That is what your mindset should be. So scoring runs, reducing the number of dot balls is key. And to have that, you have to have a mindset that is highly confident, right? And when you have 3 players who are not confident, one has lost a captaincy, one has no clue what is going on, one is supposed to be wearing white kit, he's wearing a colored kit, and the other guy, again, should be in the longer format of white ball cricket and not this. So there are 3 people here in this squad. Forget Dasun Chanaka. I mean, he's probably the cleanest hitter that we've got.
Yeah.
But these 3, how are they going to have that mindset of going attacking when they're already second guessing themselves? One player going out of form. That's why I'm not worried about Kamil Mishara.
Yeah.
Because Pathum Nissanka Kushalman is going good guns. Kamil Mishara has time to settle down and, fix his mistakes. He's got one major flaw, which I confirmed with HPC also. He's got that leg side play issue. But he has time to do that. It is one play in the top 3. But the rest, when you don't have confidence, what the management and the administration, whoever the coaches are, it's not about teaching one of these players to play a straight drive or a cover drive or a hook or a pull. It's about fixing their mindsets and giving them confidence and faith to go and perform. When they are not going to do that and they are doing these little things, right? These guys are not going to perform. And these are brilliant talents. Charit Asalanka is a brilliant talent. And we are just burying them now. That's what we're doing. Right? So if you're going to have these three, that's why I keep on saying we need fresh thinking out there, right? Fresh mindsets. And that's why I suggested Dunit Vellal get number 4, number 5, because he's got that. And it's clear to see, right? When you look at the kid, even at that last catch he took, match was gone, but he took the catch, he's there. He's fighting. He's blocked out all the external issues. He's in the game. Tatum Nisanka is doing that. Janit Lieneke can do that. Pawan Ratnayake can do that. But both of these are lottery tickets, just like DDS. I keep on bringing this example, lottery tickets. A Sri Lankan lottery ticket is 40 rupees, right? I have $1,000 in my hand, right? I have a week to go for my salary. I'm walking and I see a lottery stand. Have you seen those lottery stands in Sri Lanka? You see the lottery stand? Okay. In my head, I know I've got only $1,000. I need to survive a week. Maybe I'll win 100,000 or 200,000. I can survive. At the same time, I know this whatever money I have in my hand, I'm going to lose it, right? Because we know how lottery tickets go. It's 1 in a million, or and that's what we're doing. We're just going and buying lottery tickets and hoping it'll work. And that's not going to. We are not going to survive in modern cricket like this.
And it's as if it's as if the lottery ticket, when it pays out, is going to pay 50 rupees. Because it's DDS. What is the best case? What is the best scenario you have? He's going to score 50 off of 40 balls. He's not going to go wild. And at least if you play KJP, he may score 100 from 50 balls, right? At least that's a lottery ticket where there's a payoff. We don't even have a proper payoff with the guys we're playing.
I mean, it's not like you can resign, no? I mean, a player can't resign. He can't say, no, I'm not going to play, right? I'm telling you this because I know the Sri Lankan system. Once you do that, you will just be forgotten. They won't get you anywhere close to any of these squads if you do that, right? So he has no choice. He's going to come. He's going to do that, and you're ruining DDS. To be honest, he's our Test captain. We have a World Test Championship to play.
I just think you look at it and it just feels so old-fashioned, all the thinking behind the team, right? It's like, oh, he's our Test captain, bring him in, he can solve a problem for us. You look at Liardagate, in a way, I feel so bad for the guy, right? Because as you say, he can't turn around and say, I don't want to play. I can't play T20 cricket. You're like, he's got all the tools to be a great Test player and a great ODI player. He's perfect for modern ODI cricket, right? But now they're putting him in here and they're creating a kind of an anti-fan club for him, right? He goes on social media and all he's seeing is, what's this guy doing? What's this guy with his 80 strike rate, whatever it is, doing? And you're like, he's somebody who's come into international cricket 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and you can see him improve at this level, almost like series upon series upon series. I will say he never lets us down, but he's just not going to win us games, is he?
Yep.
He's just not a match winner. You look at that England side, right, that they played today, and you're like, someone like Tom Banton, you're like, in 20 years' time, Tom Banton is like a pub quiz answer. Right? No one's ever talking about, do you remember when Tom Banton came to Kandy and tore it all up? No one's ever talking about that. But Tom Banton's going to play maybe 60 games for England, and he's going to win 6 of those games by himself. He's going to have a bit of magic in those games. I look at the Sri Lanka side, and I think there's so many players who have that magic, who can turn a game, who are not in the right positions, or the system is currently working against them, and we're going with an insurance policy. We're not even buying a lottery ticket, are we? DDS and Liardagate are insurance policies. They're going to go out. They're not going to go out in a foolish way unless Liardagate runs himself out like he did the other day, and it's all going to be. It's going to be fine. The Barmy Army are going to come back to England and they're going to say, do you know what? It's a shame Sri Lanka lost, but they've got some guys who can play a bit of cricket. DDS looks wonderful when he hits his cover drive, or when he finally catches a ball in the field. And I'm sitting here thinking, what use is that? What use is that? I don't want to be just the other guy. I don't want to be the bridesmaid. I want to be the bride.
I mean, this is the thing, right? It's even I want to like sort of defend DDS here for a second, not because he's fit for T20 cricket, but his entire white ball career, he has been misused. He is a top order batter who can bowl a bit. And where have they batted him? 6, 7, sometimes 8. They expect him to be a hitter who can bowl a few overs. That is not what he is. The inability to actually assess the skill set that these players have and where it's supposed to fit, like that is mind-bogglingly bad. Like you look at the T20, the 2022 Asia Cup squad, that is a worse squad than this. But they had role clarity and role definition, and they played well because of it. They knew
and they
exactly
had Brad
what to do.
And they had Brad, that's why.
And they had Prad, right? Who actually had told them strategy and how to approach a game. Right now, I don't know what is happening, but there's none of that. I think it was Akmal Idris just brought up the time that they sent Lianage to go into a final over against India. Like what is the thought process here?
What I feel is, I mean, if you look at the support staff. Okay, you got Sanat Jayasuriya as head coach. He's won a World Cup for you. He's won a World Cup as selector also. He's probably the most famous Sri Lankan cricketer in the world, right? He's done everything, right? He's even danced in reality shows, right? So he's done he's done everything. And Pramodya Wickramasinghe has been in a World Cup, and not like he's contributed a lot, but he was in a World Cup. He's a world champion, right? And you look at the team, what have we won? The players. An Asia Cup? That's it, right?
That's it.
So these guys are overpowering. I mean, even in Lasith Malinga, I like what Lasith Malinga did recently, but when he also comes in, then there's a whole group of people who have achieved a lot, right? And these guys have not achieved much. And we know how Sri Lankans are, right? The Ayya syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Stats don't matter. Numbers don't matter. Look, I played this game. I know this is going to work. This is how it used to be done. And that's what's being pushed, right? Because otherwise, there's no explanation to this.
Yeah.
115 strike rate cannot be number 4 in a T20 World Cup or in a T20 squad at all, right? I mean, if they were actually focusing, this is instinctive, intuitive decision-making by a few champions. That's the problem. Honestly, because these guys the rest of the boys have nothing to say.
Dennis, I'm going to let you go because we've got a lot of other people in the back. If you want to join us in the back, I'll put the link back in a moment. Kai, I know you're waiting. We'll come to Kulanu first because he was waiting. Kulanu, you'll join us in the States as well, I guess.
Yes, Mark.
How are you today? How are you feeling? What a bad way to start your day, start your weekend.
I'll keep doing this, I guess, even during the World Cup, after the World Cup. That's how all of us are, right?
Yeah.
Just because, just before the series, we were feeling the fever of the World Cup, right? We were right on the highway, like last sort of lap towards the World Cup. It's a long time since we've had a men's senior World Cup being hosted at home as well, I believe. So, the excitement was building, but, that's the hard part of the, yourself, right? Not the head exactly, where the head kind of knew that we were thoroughly underprepared, right? So that was shown clearly today because even what's happening off the field and on the field, as you guys have discussed, it's affecting both of that. And we saw how not ready we are. Right? Even our top players like Mahesh Theekshana bowled his first ball, got hit for a 6, it was a short ball. And same with Vanadu Hasaranga, the catch got dropped, but it was also a short ball. So we are supposed to be tuning up, right? Like the last bit of like fine tuning needs to happen if we are, going to get ready in a good way to, go for that, semi-final level that people like Nasser Hussain are talking about, right? But we are way off that because what's happening off the field, on the field for a number of months contributed to each other, and now we are in a pretty much a bit of a mess because like as fans, I know I watched Udit your content as well, like how fans are an important stakeholder. We try to rationalize the decisions that selectors or coaches and players make because we obviously are from the outside, they are inside, and things like bringing DDS, prepping him in the one-day series, hoping that he will do well in the T20s, all of that we somehow try to rationalize, okay, there seems to be a plan they must know. So let's hope and see if it works out. But then it's difficult to now justify and rationalize those decisions because we can't seem to figure out what the plan is. And I'd say that we pay a lot of bucks to have a Netflix or Prime Video style documentary in Sri Lankan cricket, either on the selection process or on the dressing room, right? So because, for example, what is like Sanath Jayasuriya and Vikram Rathoru talking about right after the game or during the break about our batting collapse? Is it like it is something that nobody from the outside cannot see? It's the same problems that I've been repeating. I would like to know what that conversation is like or something like that, because we are terribly underprepared.
Kulanu, do you watch rugby?
Not a lot of rugby, but a fair bit of football, yes.
Okay, so in 2018, I think it was 2018, England got to the World Cup final, right? And they lost to South Africa in, I can't remember where it was. Where was that? Japan? Might have been Japan. I ended up going, because I'm quite involved in rugby in Middlesex. I ended up going to where England train about a year out from the Rugby World Cup final. And I got to meet Eddie Jones, who's the England coach. He's the current Japan coach, and he's one of the legendary rugby coaches of the last kind of generation, right? And he told us, there was a group of us there, and he told us England will be getting to the World Cup final. That's what I was brought in 2015 to do. And sorry, the World Cup final was 2019. And he was like, if you come in, so we went into their indoor training centre. And we know SLC have an indoor training centre because they're very proud of it whenever you see one of the broadcasts. And on the wall, up on the wall, so everyone can see when they're training, they plotted out every single game between 2015 and 2019 that they were going to play. And they plotted out what they were going to work on for every single game all the way to the World Cup final, right? So then when I'm at home a year later watching the World Cup, I can see England progressing through. You can see they've gone, right, the Six Nations 2 years out, we need to work on our scrummaging because the European sides and the Six Nations, they're the best scrummagers in the world. So that's when we're gonna do it. We had a perfect opportunity with Sri Lanka cricket to do that, to reverse engineer it and go, we know the World Cup final is going to be in Ahmedabad on the 15th of March, whatever it is. This is what we've got to do to get ourselves there. This is the players that we have. This is what how we do it. We know how modern T20 cricket's being played. You can probably do that. In rugby, it took them 4 years to get to that point. I reckon in T20 cricket, you can probably do that in kind of 2.5 years. You can kind of do that between like World Cups, right? You can plot it out and go, we know to get to the World Cup, we've got to have a team that can score score over 250 easily and consistently, and also can get 8-9 wickets in an innings. You look at the talent that Sri Lanka have, you can every single thing that you could want, Sri Lanka have. If you go, right, we have players who can turn the ball every which way, right? We have players who can turn the ball with both arms. We have left arm seam, we have right arm seam, we have slow ball specialists. The only thing I'd say we might not have that you might want from a cricket perspective is an out-and-out gun seaming all-rounder, right? But even that, they had 2 and a bit years. They could have worked on it. Liana Gay could have just been with a hitting coach for 2 years. If they'd done that and he was in the squad now, none of us would complain. If Dasun Shanaka had worked so much on his seam bowling that he was an absolute seam gun bowler, again, none of us would be complaining. They've had so much time to kind of put a plan in place, and yet we still turn up to Ketarama and it's the Ketarama Dust Bowl, and we are trying to play with 3 part-time spinners and get 50 overs out against England a week before a World Cup. It is absolutely.
You can do that if you have the people there. I mean, you don't have the people there either. I mean, for 2 years to plan, you need people at the top to be there for 2 years. You don't have that. You know where we went wrong? It's when we chased Mahela Jayawardene out of that consulting role. Right? We managed 100%. To chase him out, right? And that chase started with Sanath Jayasuriya being appointed as high performance center consultant, something. That's where it started. And they chased him out. He's gone. That's where everything started going wrong. Right? Sana came in. Then they appointed a very good selection committee. To me, I think it was a very good selection committee with the whole rationale behind getting that selection committee was good. The logic was good. Young players, they've just retired, they know what the game is, and they stuck to their guns, right? They stuck to their guns. They had their press conferences before. They explained why, even though some of the answers were not great, but they stuck to their guns and they were doing something. And then a month before the World Cup, you change everything. So just as you said, England rugby did that. They did that because they had the people on the top who were not changed. So you can't change the top because cricket is a team sport and it's not the 11. It's not the 15. It's the supporting staff. It's the administration. It's the coaches. It's the fans. It's all of us, right? It's all of us who make up the team.
Yep.
Right? It's simple as that. And that I don't understand why that these people who played cricket since they were kids and they were part of teams that have won because of that unity, because of that cohesion and because of that leadership. I mean, when we won the 96 World Cup, we had a good leadership even in the administration. The administration, the managers, everybody were together. And that's why we won the World Cup in 1996. Right? And these same people are the ones who are making this mess up. They haven't learned a thing, to be honest.
You know, I 100% agree, Udith. I think the loss of Mahela, the guy who could see he would see the forest instead of the individual tree, and was actually thinking 5-6 years down the road, right? I remember after the 2023 World Cup, that press conference he had with Charith and Kusal and said, we need to have pitches at home where the par score is 350 so that we can develop that skill. And guess what? Immediately they skittled that plan. All the young players we've seen come through were identified and developed under Mahela's guidance, right? Even the circumstances under which the under-19s play was revamped by Mahela. And we didn't give him any credit because
the NSL also, which is
the NSL, yeah.
NSL is why we are getting players like Pawan Ratnayaka, all these guys, all the young guys,
all those guys.
It's because of the NSL.
Yeah, and I think the sad thing is like people just expected it to turn around like this. They didn't think that this is a decade-long job because of how badly SLC had been administered for a decade, right? In truth, 2014, the success in 2014 was despite the fact that the administration was there, right? We had senior players who knew what to do and could handle it, but they covered up a multitude of sins that became very obvious as soon as they left. And
there was no cover up, Tom. They almost didn't go, right? Like it always never happened.
Player contract.
Yeah.
It was player contracts, and it was so when you play a World Cup, there's an additional fee that all these players get. That's for the ICC using their images on advertising and their faces being shown on the screen. Mm-hmm. So there's this sum that they get as a team. So what they usually do is they take that and they distribute it among the support staff, as in from ground boys to everyone who helped them, right? When they're in Sri Lanka. The board went against it and said, no, we can't give you that money. And that's where the issue happened because the board was almost bankrupt. So they wanted to keep the money and the players wanted to distribute it. And that was the issue. I mean, we've had these issues before every World Cup because the World Cup is where the prize pot is, right? Just being there, I think in 2007, one of the players used to get about 750 crores or something like that, right? 7.5 crores or something like that. So this is where the money is. And as soon as the World Cup comes, this changes. I mean, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to understand why.
I want to just bring this up. Someone said, I don't know how to pronounce that, but guys, even you didn't discuss the correct single valid point so far. That's cool if you think that. If you think there's something we're missing from this, then let us know. Kalulu, we brought you on. You've barely said anything, man. Sorry. What do you think needs to do you think there's any hope going into A, the second T20 and B, the World Cup?
No, I'm happy to be here and listen to you guys. Wesley, you have a guest on as well. But I'll say that, I was hopeful, maybe a bit naively, but, I'm slightly nervous for our group stage now because it's not a group that is easy. It is Ireland, it is Zimbabwe, it is Australia, and Oman is also like stepping up because they are playing at the world stage, right? So, I mean, I could still see if we get few things right because even if we crashed out at 133, was it? We still managed to get a good start. I mean, there were good signs here and there. Perahera bowled well. Wanidhu Hasaranga will step up. I'm pretty sure it's a World Cup. He's that kind of player. So let's see. So, I mean, again, you could also it's like the lottery example that you mentioned as well. There could be the lottery that we end up in the semifinals, because the ingredients are there. Just that I fail to, with all due respect to the management and the captain and everything, I still don't know whether we've got the game plan right. Because even in the one days, we just go ahead and see if we can get runs on the board and see if the pitch turns and then the wickets to go down in the opposition, right? So slightly something that happens with the opposition or conditions, our sort of adaptability is a little questionable, right? Because if we were a little more intelligent, I know there's a lot of things that are happening outside the boundary line that is affecting the team. I'm not denying that, but then if we can be a little more intelligent, take responsibility, just because it's a World Cup, at least, because I'm pretty sure from the players to the administrators, although people are interested in different ways, there might be conspiratory, ambitions of people, trying to sabotage things. I don't know who they are, but I'm pretty sure even winning a World Cup and having that legacy as even a selector or administrator or a captain or a player, that must be on top of your list of self-interests. You can talk about it for a long time, saying that you were part of the sort of the engine that won a World Cup. So I'm pretty sure that comes to the flow of the mind of people, and then somehow that force from the players down to all the administrators, management, selectors, they think about that at least just 1 week away, right? So, I mean, I really don't think that the gap between the top T20 teams and us can be fixed in the next 2 games and in the World Cup. But I do think we have match winners. And a T20 game, to win a match, you need probably 3 wickets or in an over, or 3 sixes in a row or something like that. Dasun Chanaka can do that. Wanidhu Hasaranga can do that. Pathum Nisanga can get 100. So, I mean, match winners are there. I don't think rationally we are at a top level where we run a simulation on a supercomputer and Sri Lanka keeps coming up at the top every time, because the equation is not that strong enough. But as a fan who's been watching cricket, watching test matches at Gaul, SSC, getting up at 4 when we tour, New Zealand or Australia, I mean, this is relatable to a lot of us, not just me, right? So we naively hope when it comes to a World Cup. So let's see. I mean, the fixture list, again, I don't want to jinx it. The way that it's shaping up is kind of beneficial to Sri Lanka. The way the Australia game is, where the venues are, hopefully we'll see a better showing. But definitely today was disappointing, given that this was going to be only about fine tuning and getting ready. But it crashed and burned. Yeah.
Kunal, I'm going to let you go only because there's a lot of other people in the back. If you want to come and join us, please do. This is your official Sri Lankan, or unofficial, I suppose, Sri Lankan therapy session. I want to say unofficial because I know what people thinking we're funded by SLC or anything like that. We're funded by no one. Kai, I'll just, before we come to you, I'll just read this comment out for the sake of the podcast, which is available in your podcast apps. Dylan has said, can we talk about Matisha's bowling today? Generally made me happy to see him doing well. It was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it, Dom?
Amazing. I mean, it was, at first I said, what are they? They're giving Matisha the new ball. He never bowls with the new ball. And he was able to generate swing. He looked seriously pacey. I haven't seen him look that fast on screen in a while. And it seemed like his confidence was back. He gave Josh Butler all sorts of problems. He should have had a couple more wickets. Catches were put down. So good to see. And in terms of, just to pick up on Kulanu's sort of optimism, he's one of those match winners. And seeing him perform like that and put his hand up like that and develop new skills, good on him, especially since he's been in and out of this side, right? He came back and he's made a big impact. Power to him. One thing I will say is, and Coven brought this up, we think our bowling is no problem, but it has lack of power play bowlers and the problem of the second spinner. I think, and I'd love to hear Kai and Udit's opinion on this, but you need more power play options. And obviously, the hope is when Dushmantha Chamura comes back that he provides you a couple overs there. But as of right now, if someone like, say, Mahesh Deekshana goes for runs early on, it's a big problem.
Yeah. Kai, thanks for joining us today. Kai, I, like you, I'm in the UK, but I have shred my Sri Lankan skin. Obviously, I'm wandering around what all these England fans about, so I've decided to be Fijian for the weekend. Will you be taking... I see you've got a German football shirt or a Bayern shirt on. Are you going down the same path as well? Are you going to be... just? I'm not saying you're going to deny being a Sri Lanka fan, but maybe not like be external about it.
No, I think I was 6. I've had to deal with it since I was very young. I used to get mocked really badly when I was like, because I've been playing at plenty of English, low-level English cricket, right? And when you're kids, everyone's taking the mick out of you because you've got supporting a different team to everyone else, right? So part of growing up in the UK as a Sri Lankan cricket fan. Yeah.
I was lucky when I was a kid. It was the 90s, and we were just better than England. Sadly, you were in that frame.
I was a really bad patch.
Yeah, you were in that really bad patch. Anyway, what do you think of the game today?
Disappointing, as I think we all probably feel, right? My feeling at the moment is I've been working on something which I hope I can present here at some point, which is like a stats table, and I've done like 40 different categories for potential top 5 batters who will bat in the top 3, looking at their stats at different stadiums, against different types of bowling, all the numbers, right? I'm a numbers person. I like that kind of thing. So looking at that kind of side of it.
Have you got it on hand? You can get it up now if you've got it.
I don't have it yet. I need this. It'll take a little bit longer, I reckon, because there's a lot to go through. But once I'll send it once I get it through to you.
Wicked.
I've been kind of thinking about that, but also from the other side of it, right? As a bowler myself, I'm a fast bowler, right? I spend a lot of time working on my bowling. So when I'm looking at my bowling and I'm working with a friend at the moment on it, and I'm thinking about the biomechanics of it, right? I study physics, but you don't need to study physics to know that it's just biomechanics. There's all science and there's all the kind of numbers to it. And it doesn't feel like we've got our science head on at the moment. Like, why did we think Matisha bats around and bowls fast? Partly it's the long levers. He's got very long arms. He's about 5'11". He's taller. And same with Chimera, even though they've got very different actions, that's part of it. But it's also because of like the kind of centripetal force he brings from his action when he's coming like around. He provides like greater acceleration than other bowlers will. And that's that kind of action. That's also why he's at higher risk of injury, because of his like the way his joints land. And it's stuff like this. And I feel like the SLC aren't thinking about this, right? There is nothing stopping Dustin Janaka from being an 140 Ks bowler. Like, it's just like thinking about the biomechanics of it. Obviously, we've all got different like fast and slow twitch muscle fibers. And I'm not the most talented person. I'm not particularly tall, but I know that like it's possible for me to bowl 140 Ks if I just do enough practice and think about it. I'm not a professional cricketer, right? I don't have the time and the resources that Dustin Shanaka has, let alone the talent. So, and it's the same with the power hitting, right? Some players are going to be more naturally gifted at power hitting. Has DDS or Janif Lianage ever hit 100-meter six in their life? I don't think they have. Are they ever going to hit 100-meter six in their life? No. Has any of our middle order, like, are they ever going to? Probably not. It's like that simple, right? It's the biomechanics of their batting, right? Different batters with different levers or different technical issues aren't going to be able to hit 100-meter sixes. And obviously it doesn't matter if it's a 6, it's a 6, but if you're hitting 100-meter sixes, that shows you've got the power to be able to consistently hit the ball far. And neither DDS or Lianage have that talent or like the correct technical skills. And I was watching, I don't know if any of you guys watched the West Indies v South Africa game yesterday or looked at it. It was a great game. But you look at the two standout innings would probably be Shafane Rutherford for the West Indies at the end and Quinton de Kock. And these two exemplify the two types of players who hit a lot of sixes, right? Shafane Rutherford is a big guy. He just hits the ball at a power. He can come off the turn. It's still going to fly away for the 6, right? And that's what you need in your lower middle order. That's like, obviously you've got Dasa, but Outside of that, we don't like 5, 6, 7 needs to be that kind of role. And then Quinton de Kock is your top order batter. He relies on timing, but also a lovely bat lift. He's got very high bat lift, allows him to get under the ball and he times it. He can cream it into the crowd. Like those are your two types of batters, right? One is a top order, one is a tail ender, or not tail end, lower order, right? That's the exemplify what you need in who is going to hit a lot of sixes. Why have SLC not identified those players and brought them in or worked with the players they have to work on the biomechanics and the technical side of it? Like, it's as simple as that, and it just feels like it's not there at the moment.
I'm going to hand this question over to Edith, but before I say that, I will say, when I saw that DDS was coming back into the squad, I just assumed it's because he suddenly worked out how to find the boundary. And like maybe, you know, the new boundary hitting coach and all these other batters and figured and him and just kind of cracked the code. Because sometimes you do see that happen, especially with cricket, right? Like you see players figure it out as they get through their career, right? But yeah, and before I give it over to you, Edith, as well, one more thing. I think Dustin Shanaka is one of the most harshly treated men in Sri Lankan cricket on social media, because I know that there's a lot of stories about why he's the captain, how he got the captaincy and all that, but so many times, and you saw it a bit today as well, I've always got the impression that he will do whatever is needed to do in that moment. So many times you see him bowl that last over, bowl the death overs when, like, clearly he's not a death over bowler, but he goes, you know what, I can do it. I can get the ball there, and I'm not going to let my country down. I'm going to do it for the shirt. And I think, and even when he bats, so many times you chuck him in, because really, like, you know, to use a lottery ticket example, when he comes into bat and there's 18 balls left off an innings, his role is to roll the dice, right? It's right, like, try and swing. We know, if you look at the data, that's going to come off sometimes, and sometimes it's not going to. The problem is, I always think, is the attitude that the management bring to the team, because I don't think they empower these players enough to go and express themselves in their best way. But Edith, I'd love to get your thoughts on everything Kai said there.
Firstly, I think Kai, it's great to hear someone so young talking about biomechanics and how all of these things work, right? I mean, that alone shows the difference between what is happening here in Sri Lanka and what happens in UK in terms of education, right? See, what you need to understand is the system that we have in place. So our system is, we have a club cricket level, major league level, which is run by clubs, right? And then you have the development teams before the NSL actually came in from the board, right? So these clubs are looking at winning games. That's it, right? So they doctor the pitches. They have the pitches the way they want to. Some of these clubs cannot actually afford, bowling coaches, separate bowling coach, a separate batting coach, a separate, you get the gist of it. So till the NSL came 3 to 4 years ago, not all of these players who played at the premier level of club cricket in Sri Lanka had access to these things, right? To this information. What kind of nutrition, what kind of exercises I need to do, how do I build my muscle, how do I improve my hand-eye coordination? It wasn't there. The only thing they used to have was used to have these fast bowling squads, right? Of 25 young fast bowlers got together, and they had these. The high performance center wasn't there. They had another setup. I don't remember the name. So they had the spin pool, they had a fast bowling pool, and they had a batting pool, right? And then the high performance center came again recently, something that Mahela Jayawardena pushed really hard for. There is a brain center, the high performance center is there, everything is available now, right? But then again, till players who came from the major league, right, till they finished that tournament of about 70 first-class matches, if I'm not mistaken, in total, in the tournament, and got selected to the NSL, they don't, most of these players don't have all these facilities, right? When you get to the NSL, you have the physiotherapists, you have the analysts for each of those teams, right? So that's what Mahela Jayawardena created to basically close that gap between international cricket and domestic cricket. So till that happened, it was not available. So the last 3 to 4 years, we're seeing change. because of the NSL and because of the High Performance Center, there is work that is being put in, right? But again, the problem is, the most of the cricket that we're playing at the major league level, the club level, right? There are 76 matches, if I'm not mistaken, 75, 76 matches, first-class matches in the club level, which has to change. We have to have more matches in the NSL because there's only 5 teams. There's about 148 players playing, not about 500 who's playing in the major league, right? So these are the best of the best. And also when you pick, now we've done changes in terms of they've signed up, they've basically given contracts for 45 domestic cricketers, right? That is excluding the Sri Lanka A, the development squad. So there's about 90, 100 to 120 players who are contracted now. So now these guys get to use these facilities, right? So the problem is this is still at infancy stage. It's only 3 years old. It's only 4 years old. So to actually bring results, it's going to take time, right? And with all that is changing, for example, Niroshan Dikwella, we know what happened, and now he is in the squad. Where did he come from? No one knows, right? And someone who's supposed to play the World Cup is now missing. So the motivation for players, now you are motivated to improve your skill. Will these guys be motivated to improve their skills? Would they want to go into the High Performance Center and get their skills sorted? So our issue is much more deeper than all of this, right? And at the same time, we have an issue with all these, how do I call it? Sri Lankan parents, they always shove things down our throats. That's what they do, right? This is how you're supposed
my
to
mom
do it.
is watching. Don't.
I mean, that's what they do, right? And that same thing is there when you come to the high performance as well. So I've done it this way. That's why I'm here as a high performance instructor. You got to do the same thing. But then there's the tech, there's the scientific part of it. All of that is there. And we're not using it. We're not using it at least the way we need to be using it. So I always say complicated issues don't have simple answers. And Sri Lankan cricket has complicated issues. Answers are complicated as well. And no one is actually trying to solve that. I mean, give that complicated answer. One thing, they don't have time, because by the time they do that, someone else will jump in, right? Find all the fault. And it's just like Sri Lankan politics. They jump in and they start doing something else. So they don't have time to do it. And even if they take the risk, right, to change these things, they will be sidelined. And up until we change all of that, I mean, forget biomechanics. We just don't understand the simple mechanics of the human mind. And we need to sort that out first.
The other thing I'll add to that as well is we have to remember, and I think this is where Mahela came slightly unstuck, is that we're playing catch up with everyone else. And sometimes when you talk about these things, you forget that everyone else is moving as well. So we've got to accelerate our development to catch up with everyone else. If you look how far India are down this road, you look how they develop players compared to what we're doing. I mean, on an even more basic level, if you draw a map of where Sri Lankan players come from, realistically, most of the country has never produced a player, and you're like, how could this possibly be? What are you telling me? There's whole areas of the country where they don't play cricket, because I know that's not true, because you can go there and you can see them playing it, right? There's just so much more growth for us in this area. It's a bit of a shame. Kai, we're going to let you go, if that's all right. Sorry, just because there's a few other people waiting to talk to us. Pasindu, thanks for joining, mate. Thanks for waiting about as well. How are you feeling tonight?
No problem. By the way, hi, Udit. Nice to finally meet you. Yes, the wait was worth it. I mean, everything that you guys are talking about was correct. And as I said, we really need this therapy session as Sri Lanka cricket fans, because, I mean, boys, what are we doing, right? 2 years after the disaster of 2024, we are back at square one, right? It's just, it's kind of sad. But I just wanted to add something, as you said, we are supposed to catch up with the rest of the world while trying to develop the existing structure. But I kind of think, yes, we need the high performance, but we need those techniques to trickle down to like junior cricket as well, because that's where all the big three essentially, right? That's where they are miles and miles ahead of us. Because our junior cricket is still stuck in like the 90s and the early 2000s, because there are still kids coming through who hasn't really done a proper squat bench press or haven't even seen a weight rack, right? So because again, I see a lot of our players doing functional training as well, but it's not just enough to do the functional training. You have to actually train that function in the nets, with the bowling machine, with the throwdown specialists, all of them like that, right? So again, it's not just the players, right? It's supposed to be the management as well, because all that needs to trickle down. That's how, in my opinion, we can accelerate that. And the other thing is the basics are just, it's not there, right? I don't know where it goes, right? Because I mean, we are dropping straightforward catches, right? And those are individual things. So again, just disappointing. And I mean, I'm just venting here, right? But those are the things that I do see, right? Because yeah, that's definitely that's my 2 cents.
I mean, I think there's so much kind of in that. I don't know what you wanna respond to that, Dom.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Pasindu. I think it's a really frustrating time. I think you're right to point out that this is not a Band-Aid issue, which I think is what the selectors and the administration believe. It's not something that can be fixed by bringing in DDS, bringing in any of these guys. It is a systemic issue that has to be faced and thought about. And, I think there's the possibility of doing it. We've seen India totally revamp the way they play white ball cricket over the last decade and a half, but it's not a process that happened overnight. It's a process that took a lot of time, took a lot of investment. And this is where, and cricket is political in India as well, right? It's not like Sri Lanka is the only place where cricket is a political thing. So I think it's really important that if they want to do it, they find the people who are committed to the long run, committed to making the talent that is so rich and so diverse on this island shine, right? Like we saw it today. We saw so many bright patches despite the fact that we lost. If we can actually harness that power and make it such that our teams are no longer less than the sum of their parts, because that somehow is the case. Like you'd think, okay, excellent bowling unit, good top order, that's enough to win you plenty of games. But the way they've constructed the squad takes away from that. I'd be curious too, on your point, Pasindu, to hear what some of the consultant coaches they've brought in are thinking, right? So sort of the power hitting coach, the Vikram Rathors. What are they? How do they feel about this? I'd love to hear the perspective about how this is run, because they're used to being in an English setup or an Indian setup, which I'd imagine is very different than what they're seeing here.
Yeah. The main thing is, if we were planning to bring these guys in, this should have been done in 2024, not November of 2025, right? And again, those guys don't need to be in the dugout. They should be at the high performance center, working with the 90 odd contracted players and the emerging sides.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I as a professional, I do not want to see them at the grounds. Right. I don't really care how they look or how they act. Their job is at the high performance center, because that's where all these adjustments are made. And to this point, right, the way our cricket is structured, a lot of players come in to this high performance culture with some inherent, how can I say, no, they're not mistakes, but limitations. And by the time they actually get to the national level, it's kind of, I mean, once you learn something, it's really hard to unlearn, right? So again, that's why I said all this stuff needs to trickle down into the age, like the age group cricket, right? Do what India does, right? Create a national pool, train them, give them the charts, and then send them out back to their schools so that, they can actually spread it around.
Pasindu, one of my kind of big hopes for Sri Lanka cricket is obviously I spent a lot of time in England. I spent time in Australia as well. When you talk to people in the English system and you talk to people in the Australian system, their big fear is that people just won't come through the system. That they can, if you look at England in the 90s, they just had no one good. No one good turned up, right? That's when they to reignite the team, they had to go to South Africa and bring a few players through, right? And that's how they kind of, to this day, you look at this side, there's like 3 players from Barbados or whatever, it's cool, right? They do what works for them. Sri Lanka doesn't have that problem, right? Sri Lanka's like a cricket goldmine. Like, you go throw your net out in Colombo and you'll pick up 10 guys who could play decent cricket, right, at a level. I think part of my big hope is that when the franchise system develops a bit more around the IPL, and there's every week there's an iteration of the Mumbai Indians playing an iteration of the Super Kings somewhere, London Mumbai Indians versus Leeds Sunrisers or whatever it is, then what happens is these teams and their networks become more and more yearning to uncover the next big thing. Look at Sri Lanka today, right? 8 overs off our, I know we didn't get to bowl 20 overs, but 8 overs would have been through 2 players that really came through the IPL system, right? With Perahera and Theekshana. We should be so grateful for CSK bringing Perahera through, because I don't know whether those 2 players would even be in the Sri Lanka set up if it wasn't for them. And I kind of hope that
Eshan Malinga too.
I have absolutely no faith in SLC. And no faith in SLC ever developing the kind of system you're suggesting. But if someone told me, actually, do you know what? Mumbai Indians have a unit in Kandy and they nurture loads of players, or Sunrisers have a unit in Gaul and they've brought a load of youngsters through and they're training 20 youngsters. And all right, only from that 20, only one of them goes on to play IPL, but then another 8 of them start playing franchise cricket and T20 cricket, and they're brought through and they understand how to play this level, and we end up having a kind of Avengers Assemble team that for a World Cup suddenly all these players turn up for, and if they're scoring hundreds off 30 balls in a World Cup, I don't care if they don't play bilateral series against Ireland in the odd time. I have no faith in Sri Lankan cricket, but I do have faith that there is a franchise system that's being built that's going to end up creaming off our best talent if it isn't doing so already, and is going to bring through players, because we know that they're looking at younger and younger players. I don't know what you think about that, Udith. What you think whether you think franchise cricket might actually end up being the thing that saves Sri Lankan cricket, not saves, but makes us realise our potential.
I never saw it that way, the way you presented it. In fact, having all these guys having scouting units and doing whatnot. But I heard recently was one of the new LPL teams are starting an academy here. I think the ownership is coming from Tamil Nadu somewhere. So they are starting an academy here. I look at franchise cricket in a different way, because that's going to take a long time to happen. Right? Whatever said and done, it's going to take a long time to happen, and they'll be focused on so many other countries before they actually think of Sri Lanka. Because, see, though we say we have a lot of talent, if you look at our school cricket, we're still playing on matting wickets. Right? Our age grade cricket is playing on the, we have the ropes that matting. So no way are we going to make cricketers who can score 100 or 30 balls on those. Right? So I just believe we need to have a system, under-19 age grade cricket, which is a franchise model, right? Because now you brought out a key point saying that, it's only, if you look at the map of Sri Lankan cricketers, where they come from, there's an entire area which they don't, right? If you look at the North Central, even Uva, right? Hatton, you don't get players. I don't know if there are players from Hatton Badula ever, right?
It's too beautiful around there to play cricket. You just keep looking at them.
So that's not there. And if we can create a kind of model, and most of these people, I've known personally, a lot of people, I've known this brilliant cricketer from Kandy who had to stop when he was about 22, 23, because his father passed away and he had to basically carry on, taking care of his family, right? So there's an economic issue here as well, financial issue here as well. So a kind of franchise model that can incorporate all the under 19s, right? And look at it from that perspective. Bring a franchise model, bring a way where these kids can get paid, right? And then look at a franchise model where you don't have to have, it doesn't have to be a massive tournament, right? It can be much, it can be on a smaller scale, but you can get all the corporates together and make it an effort to find players under 19 level who get to play in wickets like the international grounds that we have, right? Even the major league players don't get to play in the international grounds we have. So give them that experience. Give them that experience of having a bowling coach, having an analyst, having a physiotherapist, right? Give him that experience. And I think we can, if you want something short term, right? Something you need quick. But none of these is practical, right? No one is actually going to go and do this. So the best way to move forward is age grade cricket, because Lasith Malinga clearly, said it really well during that Sirasa interview. We can't be producing players once they come to major league level or national level. Mm-hmm. The players that we produced at age grade level, right? So age grade level, what India is doing, we can do here. We have 66,000 square kilometers to cover, right? We can have an academy which actually houses these kids, gives them an education, give them the nutrition, make them play cricket, do all of that. We can have that. It's not something that's going to spend a lot of money on, right? You can collect these kids. Look, there are schools at Division 3 level who sign up for the tournament and they can't turn up at matches because they don't have transport to get to the grounds, right? Teams just pull out of the tournament. So the interest is there. And some of these kids don't have proper nutrition. Nuwan Tushara didn't have nutrition.
Yeah.
He has a problem because of that, right? He has a problem because he did not have the right nutrition when he was younger. So these things can be done. We can have a National Cricket Academy thing that India is doing here. It's not rocket science. They can spend the money and they can do it. Problem is, no one is taking the initiative or no one really knows what to do. Right?
To put an interesting perspective on this, I live in Boston in the United States. And do you want to know that there is a CSK Academy here in Boston in the United States? The fact that there is not one in Colombo, I think, speaks absolute volumes to
there is a reason for that. I'm not going to say it out loud here. There is a reason as to why these premier IPL franchises are not coming to Sri Lanka. There is a reason.
Yeah, there was a question and comments about it that at this point, we can't talk about it, but at some stage, like everything in Sri Lanka, the truth will reveal itself. Though I suspect, I think that CSK Academy is like a franchise, right? Because you can, there's a Rajasthan Academy in London.
They are taking a few net bowlers to India. We have quite a few at Sunrisers also, a couple of bowlers. There's one fast bowler, left arm. He's a left arm slinger, basically. Lasith Malinga left-handed version. He's there with the Sunrisers, I think. So there are a few people that have been picked up. And we've got some good talent coming from the north and east. The north is producing some really, really good young guys. Mm-hmm. There are a few in the under-19 squad now. And there's another really good fast bowler that's coming up. Probably will hit under-19 national level in probably next year or the year after. There is a couple of other players from Eravur, that is the east, who is coming in. So it's opening up. Just hope for the best, no?
That's all we can do. Prasindu, what's your hopes for the rest of this T20 series and then the World Cup?
I'm just hoping against all hope that we actually get our act together. Make the Super 8s. I'm not expecting much. Just try to make the Super 8s and we'll see how it goes from there. But I think we all saw this train wreck coming quite a few distance off, especially when the squad changes were made. But, Sri Lankan cricket fan at heart, there's always that outside chance. Just make the Super 8 boys. It's a home World Cup. We are with you, right? After seeing the 96 World Cup win, I've been a fan for life. So I'm always hoping Sri Lanka would do well, but as I got older, I just saw the dysfunction. But I'm still a fan. My hope is just do well, make us proud. Even if you lose, make us proud.
I always believe the thing about Sri Lanka cricket is that it is always a triumph through chaos, isn't it?
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
I as much as I'm like absolutely devastated about the way we performed today, I looked at that side and I'm like, man, Patam the Sanka, when he gets going, he's an absolute animal, right? As is Kamal Mishra, he's just so young in his career and he's just started out and he hits the ball so cleanly.
Yeah.
Kusal Mendes, you're like, he's started to show the promise that we were all like started to play to the promise that he showed, and you're like, home World Cup, this is a big one for him, right? And then you're like,
it's high time.
Even Chatha Sri Lanka, right? In between, he doesn't do much. But remember that game against Bangladesh in the World Cup, like 2 World Cups ago, and suddenly I'm like, again, excited again. And then I think of the bowling, and I'm like, Hasaranga. There's no batter in the world who doesn't fear that man. Perahera, every batter in the world is petrified of him. He's the second best T20 bowler after Bumrah when he gets going, right? So it's like, there's a lot to be excited about, and I think in a way, the fact that we have these deep conversations shows that we're like, if we're thinking about it, there must be other people thinking about it, right? And it shows that there is so much love and desire for this team and commitment. And, as I said, the fans, we have a role to play. We've got to come on and keep talking and keep bringing these things up. People do see it. You don't like it. I know we're just on the internet talking about it, but people do see it. People react to these things. We just got to keep believing in the boys. We've got nothing else to lose, man. Like I always say, if you're Sri Lankan, if you live in Sri Lanka, if you're Sri Lankan like us, everything that can happen to a place has happened to Sri Lanka. And that's just in like the last 30 years. Forget the 8,000 years of history, right? In the last 30 years, everything that can happen, right? And that is, for every bad thing, a good thing happens as well, yeah? I think of so many games. I think of even like the women's side, right? When Chamri gets 4 wickets in that over against Bangladesh to win it, and you're like thinking we're down and out, there's nothing you can do. And then suddenly there's just a spirit within us, man. We never know when we've lost. We never think we've lost. We always think we're gonna win. I just think, the chips are down for us today, but tomorrow's a different day. There's 1,000,000 problems, but all we got to do is put in 40 good overs of cricket, play hard cricket, and then you never know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
Guys, should we leave it there for today? No one will like my politics. No one will like my politics.
You can run SLC. You can be sports minister and appoint yourself head of SLC.
No, because there'll be shows like this when I've got Will Alagay as captain and opening the batting and the bowling. When it will be like, that idiot is it's put all the pressure on that young kid. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thanks for coming on, Pasindi. Thanks for everyone who's come on. Thank you, Edith.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We've got lots planned in the next few weeks for this World Cup. We're going to have to front load it because who knows how long we'll be in the tournament, right? But we're going to be back. We'll be back after the game on Sunday. We'll start a few minutes afterwards. We'll see you all then. Thank you for joining. Thanks a lot. Bye.
It's the Murali End, you're in the place to be. Analyze the players and the team. Keep a great company in the stream.
It's a Murali End. Welcome to the show. We're here when you're high. We're here when you're low. Some days you're happy, some days you wanna when happy it's we, when mad it's them. It's the same place, Murali End. Sri Lanka cricket we go represent. Go tell a friend.